In this orthokeratology case, the patient's got some residual myopia after wearing lenses. And if we look at the pre and post treatment topographies, we can see that the optic zone could look a little bit better, but this person's not a super high myope, so we're probably not going to get a very, very well defined reverse curve. In the right eye, it indicated in the case that the patient still has a full 2.25 diopters of myopia residual after treatment. If you do a quick difference map between these two, you'll find that you get a pretty solid area of 2 diopters of flattening. So I'm a little bit surprised that the patient is not appreciating any refractive change clinically, even though we're getting 2 diopters worth of anatomical change. I would maybe hang tight with the right side and do a little bit more investigation to see why the patient really is not appreciating any refractive difference at all in the right eye, because the topography does tell us that we should be seeing right around 2 diopters of change, perhaps not the full amount of the patient's refractive error, but I'm surprised that we in fact are even more minus than baseline. In the left eye, I think we have about 3/4 of a diopter, and this one does make a little bit more sense. We can address that just by changing Topo demand. The periphery does seem a little bit loose, so why don't we tighten that up at the same time? I'm going to bring up right and left lenses. So here's the right lens, and it looks pretty standard. We've got a little bit more power than we normally would expect for -2.25, but no problem. The cornea is kind of flat, and especially if the patient has a history of a little bit being undercorrected, then that's not totally unexpected. Like I said earlier, the only unexpected thing is that the patient's not getting any subjectively improved vision, even though we're getting 2 diopters of change on the cornea. So again, I'd maybe just observe the right eye and see what's going on there on follow-up. In the left eye, I would go ahead and just build in the 3/4 of the diopter, so our new target will be about 250, maybe just a little bit under 250. And we can fine-tune some of these meridians. The wave window is telling us that our optic zone is not very homogeneous. So back in 100% mode, I'm going to see if we can smooth that out a little bit, and that looks a little bit better. One other thing I like to do is make sure there's prism in all my freeform lenses. It does increase the center thickness a little bit, but if a freeform lens is not orienting the way we expect it to, we are going to get results that are going to be unexpected. Plus, with only about 3/4 of the diopter of corneal fill, there's not that much holding the lens in place. So prism ballast, I think, is a good idea for this lens to make sure we are in line with what our expectations are. Well, we also increase the sagittal depth of the lens a little bit, since we were a little bit loose in the periphery. I like to have most of my bearing at the very back edge of the reverse curve. And if we have too much bearing out in the periphery, that lifts the back edge of the reverse curve. So I like to pop the periphery up just a little bit. we look at the posterior topography, it's pretty well centered, maybe just a hair low. Increasing sagittal depth is not really going to lift the lens, but sometimes lifting the edge of the lens will negate any further dropping of the lens. So I do like to get the bearing a little bit closer to the blue dot than exactly spread uniformly across the periphery of the lens. So this is going to give us a little bit more demand and hopefully just get the patient seeing a little bit better. The right eye is want to follow. Maybe there's something I'm missing here where the posterior topography really does suggest that we ought to be having more than zero treatment or even negative treatment, as we might see with the central island. Obviously, no central island, definitely has some central flattening here. So if this eventually comes out to maybe being half or three-quarters of a diopter undercorrected, then I would go ahead and build that in. That would make a little bit more sense. Another clue is even with the lenses on, the patient's taking a little bit of a minus over refraction, and unless there has been definite myopic progression in terms of axial length change since the initialization of treatment, there really shouldn't be any minus over refraction with the contact lens on, unless the patient has a little bit is accommodating a little bit during the refraction. If there's myopic progression, then yes, the patient will be taking more minus with the lens on. But if the patient just started treatment and has not really had time to progress, we ought to be getting pretty close to plano or low plus over refraction with lenses on. So just keep an eye on that, and then if it does turn out it's just a mild, that the undercorrection is not as severe as we thought, I would build that into the lens as well. So hopefully this helps your patient. Best of luck, and thanks for watching.